Hi, I'm Adam, and this is Making Dollars and Cents at the Box Office. An infant was the boss of the box office this weekend, followed by a French beast, a Japanese cyborg, and a group of teenage superheroes. Who says originality is dead? Well, 3 of those are remakes, so I'll let that speak for itself. Anyway, let's practice our teething and chew on some numbers. Dreamworks' The Boss Baby took the #1 spot this week with $50 million, but reviews were lukewarm, kind of like a baby bottle, praising the cast and the animation, but critiquing the poop jokes and the simple story. If animated films were a family, and the older children were like Pixar, Laika, and then like the youngest children were like the $5 like spin-off awful movies, Boss Baby is kind of a middle child. Our next newcomer, Ghost in the Shell, took the #3 spot behind Beauty and the Beast by a long shot. The Disney remake brought in $45 million on its 3rd week, and Ghost in the Shell domestically on its 1st week brought in $18 million. And paired with that tiny number are mixed to negative reviews. Sure, it brought in $40 million internationally, but that's still pretty shy of its $110 million budget, and being based on one of the most well-known manga of all time, it's a failure. Critics and audiences alike were disappointed with the style over substance approach that left us with some cool cities and some nice action, but ultimately, there's no ghost in this fancy shell. Less Scarlett Johansson, you white, sit down. The final newcomer of the weekend is The Zookeepers Wife, starring Jessica Chastain and Daniel Bruhl, which only brought in $3.2 million and landed it in spot 10. Despite being our monthly film about World War II, overall critics were saying that it was kind of safe and sterile, and really, even though it was historically accurate, the heart and the heaviness was missing. Looking ahead to next week, Boss Baby is gonna have a little competition with Smurfs: The Lost Village. The Blue Buggers are back in an entirely computer-generated film where they use a magical map to look for a lost village. It's an all-new cast, but the fact that no one really knows that it's unrelated to those awful first 2 movies and makes no effort to make its own identity is a bad sign that this is probably just here to sell some merchandise and make a little money before the good animated movies come out this summer and doom this movie to be just as lost as the village they're trying to find. We'll also see the release of Zach Braff's latest directorial effort, Going in Style, starring Alan Arkin, Morgan Freeman, and Michael Caine, about 3 old guys that decide to rob a bank. And if you already think that sounds familiar and bland and done a million times before, don't worry, it's a remake of a 1979 film. I mean, you'd think that the director of beloved indie classic Garden State would have a little bit more to offer us, but maybe his career is not really going in style. And lastly, Case for Christ is coming to 1,100 theaters this weekend. Based on Lee Strobel's book of the same name, this movie will tell the story of what inspired the book, and it's not exactly a book-to-film translation. It follows Strobel, an atheist journalist who investigates Christianity in an attempt to disprove it after his wife recently finds faith. Through the process of interviewing scholars, scientists, and biblical historians, he finds that there may be more to Christianity than he originally thought. Now, I can't speak for the movie, though Pure Flix has been known to consistently release garbage, but I have read the book, and it's fascinating, intriguing, and informative. So hopefully the movie can take some of these qualities and put them on screen, but at the very least, hopefully it'll just sell more copies of the book. Well, that's all for this week. We'll be gone next week, but we will be back for an Easter recap. So, in the meantime, catch up on some movies. I know I will. And if you like this, hit subscribe, like, or comment if you want to join the conversation. And we will see you next time on Making Dollars and Cents at the Box Office.